Welcome to the Teachers Pep Rally, everyone. If you missed our last episode, we spoke with Georgia Tech professors Jason Freeman and Dr. Brian McGurko about their music-based coding platform, EarSketch. If you missed the conversation, go back and check it out on your favorite audio platform or by visiting our YouTube channel. Please like it, share it with friends, and review it. We can't believe another school year is coming to a close or to an end. We have season 8 and 9 under our belts here at the Teachers Pep Rally.
130.
Unbelievable. So as we get ready for a long overdue break, let's talk about life, learning, and summer. We're all like,
oh my gosh.
We're almost there.
Yes.
I haven't said this on the way home. I literally just pulled up and I was thinking on the way home, I was like, which is more of an intense time of year, the holiday season, December, or now? I feel like this is a deep, deep marathon. This is the third week of something every single night.
Yeah.
Like it's just a lot.
Yeah. And we have state testing going on
Yep.
that's finishing up. And
Yep.
you're doing, I know, finals and final grades, right, Pete? I mean, Fred. So, oh my God.
Yeah. We got finals, we got grading. Graduation is on Saturday. So today, when we're doing this recording, it's Wednesday. So we have graduation, and I'm proud to announce that I'm the marshal this year, which is, I mean, I was so excited about that. So yeah, you're right, Pete. It is that time of the year where it seems like everything. And then we just came out of our award season, so we have awards days. Project presentations.
Fred, do you get a sash? Do you get a hat? I need to picture this.
Or one of those. What is
I get the
mace.
Yeah, it's big. It's crazy. I'll definitely have a picture for y'all. It looks like something from Lord of the Rings.
I cannot wait.
I was thinking the Grand Poobah.
I'm excited for it.
The Poobah.
And I actually got my my guidance today, the map, and they're like, "Don't worry, at every corner you're going to turn, there will be someone there guiding you." I'm like, "Do you know my wife? Because this is how this always goes on vacations."
Fred, that reminds me growing up. So we grew up Catholic, and I can remember one year, must have been Easter, and my brother was in the youth group and did not realize they had asked him to carry the large, some kind of cross or whatever around during part of the ceremony. And I will never forget, we both were just like grabbing each other's hands, like, please do not let him drop this. Please do not. And it was just, so I'm just envisioning the same thing, carrying this heavy thing, being directed, with all pomp and stance. And
all I keep on thinking of is the scene from Animal House when the one brother from the Animal House comes along, knocks the drum major out of the way, and he takes them, and they go like exit stage left.
Yes.
And they go down the alley and they'll get jumbled up. That'll be me leading them out of the building into the alley.
I was kind of thinking at the Disney Hollywood Studios, the Muppets 3D at the end with the when Sam the Eagle is.
That's him.
Yeah,
that's him right there.
It's fun. It's fun.
That's so great. Well, do you guys know that it's Teacher Appreciation Week? So I wanted to make sure to say to you both, happy Teacher Appreciation Week.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, until the other day, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's something we should have thought about with our teachers in our community to say we appreciate them, send them some things, and
we're just so darn busy. Well, I did write down a note knowing we were going to be talking this week, and I thought, we always ask our guests at the end to share a little story about a teacher, a coach, or a mentor that inspired them in some ways. So I was curious because, like Pete said, like we've done a lot of episodes now, right? We've heard a lot of stories. So I'm kind of curious for us to talk about what have you gotten from either hearing those stories or what do you love about them?
Dramatic pause.
Yes.
I'm looking at my notes.
I didn't give you guys a question ahead of time. It just kind of came to me. I'll go. I think for me, what I love about them is it's exactly what we intended was, we talk about everyone knows a teacher, whether it's in their family, whether it's the teachers that they had growing up or a friend or maybe a spouse. And I just thought, man, it's just so lovely to continue to hear these stories. And we hear sometimes similar themes of just being felt seen, or, was in an impasse, but this person believed in me and said that, you know what I mean? But then you also hear other stories of things that, that are just kind of unusual or sweet or special, and you think, "Gosh, I wonder what would have happened if that teacher didn't intervene," right?
Right,
That
right.
wasn't there for them. So,
Yep.
kinda cool, kinda cool. I'm glad we
Hey,
I
do it.
think I think for me, it's just a continuous flow of inspiration.
yep.
Here's somebody that noticed this is missing, and I know a way to fill this gap. I know a way to fulfill this need. I know a way to spark this little idea, make this passion become something that's bigger than me, and we're going to help others along the way. And oh my gosh, I might make money off of this someday. And we had so many inspiring people, entrepreneurs, educators, people that are just really going beyond, above and beyond. Trying to run the nonprofit, teaching, father, all that stuff, very important. And you feel it's the grind. You feel we're getting older, and
Mm.
it's definitely not getting easier. And plus, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of just questions, and sometimes they're not good questions. And just for us to talk weekly and meet these amazing people from all over, all different fields, it inspires me. It says, well, they're doing it. You could keep doing it. Hang in there. Keep going.
Yeah,
So it's a nice little, Super Mario power up for me. It really is. So I would say inspiration.
that's a good analogy. I like that. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely inspiration. There's definitely that. We've mentioned that before, where in the past it's you get in that grind, you look for that lift. It's cathartic.
Mhm.
It's our therapy. It's all that rolled into one. That's what this really is, right? It's our group therapy.
It sure is.
I think the other word that popped into my head when you were saying that, Pete, is clarity.
Mm.
It's the reminder. It's a reminder of what we're doing, and there's definitely inspiration from the standpoint of seeing other people do it differently. It gives you new ideas to try things. That was definitely what was happening again for me this year. So that was fun. But it is clarity. It's understanding our mission and our roles. I think that's
Mhm.
what it comes back to. It's easy to get lost in the noise of the world. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
with all there's so many other factors at play anymore. You all have to deal with more directly with parents and their impact on the child and learning, and then you have your peers and you have your administration, and we do too. Maybe not so much the parents for us, but definitely. And it's like there's so many other things pulling their attention, and you're trying to be that voice you're giving them something, new direction, new ideas, new knowledge, inspiration. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it feels to me, when I think of the teachers that I had over the years, like when you went to school and you were there all day, you were with that teacher, especially in those early years before you started changing classes. Like
Yeah.
that was your teacher. Like even at the college level, like I'm a program coordinator, so like I feel like I have a role for the students, but there's so many other things pulling them in different directions anymore that their focus seems to be a miss. So the clarity to remind me who I am and how I can help them is what the podcast continued to do this year.
Yeah, it makes me also think of the word purpose.
Mm.
And that's one of the reasons, we did our first webinar this year, which ended up becoming, I was just looking up, episode 115 from season 8, but we
Yeah.
did leading with purpose, which was really exciting and something different. So
Mhm.
even we try to kind of stretch ourselves or do some things different, or try to present,
Yeah.
ideas or resources that seem to be relevant. So that was kind of cool. I thought that was interesting thing. So we had our friends, Marnie and Nick from Lead It Like Lasso, and they kind of walked people through. I always call it a user manual, but something to use to, kind of think about what you are, best at doing, how you work best with others, and then sharing that out so that when you're leading or being part of a team like the three of us are, you have an understanding of like where people are best to plug in or feel most comfortable. So,
Yeah.
um, anyways,
No,
uh,
it's interesting. Like is it, what's the term, Aaron? Is communities of practice? Is that right? That's what I feel like we've become in a way, like this community of practice. And so everybody knows too, like you said something about trying new things, right? Maybe we should tell everybody in a way we were going to be switching to a new platform for hosting our podcast. So without getting into saying who it is, I was out trying to figure certain things out. We were going to try it the one night with just when it was going to be us. I couldn't quite figure it out, but it was kind of in the spirit of us in the classroom trying new things. And if anybody is out there wanting to get into this space, podcasting, blogging, vlogging, whatever, reach out to us. We're glad to help you, first of all, but also we're always trying to figure out things. That's what we do. It seems like it's kind of like a disease.
Yeah, we're definitely not afraid of trying new stuff. That's for sure. That's always been our way, and
right.
Winging it. Let's just try. Let's just see what happens. I love that energy.
It's funny when we get guests sometimes. Yeah, right. Most of the time. That's what I was going to say. It's funny when we get guests. You can tell the guests that have been on other podcasts because they'll ask certain very, very specific questions about, how long is this going to run? What's the format? How are you going to, like there's certain things that you can see that it's not their first rodeo. And then you get the other guests, they're just like going along the ride with us, and that's kind of like how we are anyway. But you keep us all tight, Aaron. You know that you keep us organized. But we're always trying new things. And once again, another call back out to all of our listeners is like, if you'd like to see us try a different format, what have you seen work? We will, maybe it would work differently for us. Yeah. But
absolutely. And I think that the three of us kind of look at even the way that we lead in education or work with students kind of in the same mentality, right? Of that continuous improvement or, try, do a little research and try something and see how it goes and being okay with that. So it reminds me of, we had Dr. Linda Hopper. She came on, she had written a book. So again, Pete, talking about these teachers who learn something or find something that works for them and they want to share with other people. So she wrote a book about it and the importance of maybe thinking about coaching more in the closed classroom. So that student-centered approach. I know Pete and I for sure have been student-centered approach. Fred, I'm hearing you over the last couple of years sharing that. So I thought I'd ask you, like, how do you think that's being received, or do you see it kind of shifting more that way in higher education? Because when I went, it was pretty much you just got lectured to, right? Like you might get put in a small group or something like that for something, but for the most part, it was very teacher-centered. Do you still find that? Are you seeing some shifts in it?
That's a great question. I am seeing some shifts in it. And I think, and it goes back to the same issues as to why we might not see it move as quickly or aggressively as in K through 12. It's the giving up of the ownership. Like the professors that I've seen do it, love it. They love seeing the students become more of the focal point, whether it's in one way I've seen it used in my space, in the tech space, is something my one peer does a lot of, and that's peer coding, team coding. And it happens in the classroom where students are leading it and demonstrating stuff, and then they talk about it. That's a really neat thing. And that happens even in the real world too. There's people pair coding or peer coding. So that's happening. I think we also see it appear under another name, and that's engaged scholarship. So engaged scholarship is really nothing more than real projects. And that's where, the professor or the school will, identify companies, organizations in the community that need some help with something. And then we'll craft it into a project. And then student teams essentially become the focal point of everything in that class. The professor then just slowly fades out and kind of facilitates and communicates. And if ever need be, like advocate maybe, or, kind of if they run into an issue where the real world project person fades out or something like that, the professor has to be in there real quick to kind of redirect. So yeah, that's definitely, we're seeing more and more of that, and that's a good thing. there's that sage on the stage is still out there.
For sure. For sure. And and it can be scary to attempt to do it first, and definitely in K through 12. I mean, it's been there's been growing pains with it, but the minute that you start doing some things and you start to see, oh, they're participating as much as I've always wanted them to participate. You know what I mean? You start to just realize there's some pluses to it, right? Once you can kind of get over some of those old ways of thinking or concerns or fears, and you can always pivot. Like you don't have to, just because you tried something one day doesn't mean
Totally.
you can't change it up the next.
I changed. I changed the approach to the fourth quarter this year. Third quarter we have festival and some programs. We have the big show. A lot of stuff wraps up, and then fourth quarter, I said let's really focus on group projects, group work. And I loved it. It was such a great year. Today was the last day of projects. The collaborative process at the age where I teach, some of them struggle. It's hard. The group dynamics, but every single one of them, when they're done, they're like, that wasn't so bad. Fifth grade we had Dr. Seuss raps. We had fifth grade had to make a product. Then they had to make up a script. They had to make advertisement copy for it. They had to make background music to play while they're doing the advertisement for their product. They had to have a prop, and at the end, they all had to participate in some sort of jingle. They had a real catchy, quick little song, and it was hard for some of them, but I really saw growth. Number of different composing projects, things like that, and I just loved. I love seeing the growth. I love seeing them taking some responsibility. I love seeing some of the struggles. It's a safe struggle. It's a fun struggle. They got through it, and they all said, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so bad. And then the clapping at the end and all. I mean, but it's a big step for them. And some groups were obviously more successful than others. So I definitely think that's something I'm going to keep, really focus that first. And I don't do a lot of talking. We do a lot of playing instruments, singing, dancing, movement, acting, I really try not to talk. I feel like, if I talk too much, I'm going to become the Peanuts teacher. I feel like they listen to talking enough all day. They come to the music room to hear their own voice, to find their own voice, and to make music, not listen to me talk about music. But I do think for now, definitely fourth and fifth grade, maybe third to some capacity, my fourth marking period. And I'll be honest, it was a lot less, it's always work. This marking period was a lot less stressful in the classroom for me because of this. It was a little bit taken off on me. The kids owned a little bit. They had a little bit more voice. And because of it, I think everybody benefited. So I think I'm going to keep it this way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That kind of ties into something I was going to ask y'all. I was looking at the episodes that we've done this past year, and it's been a whirlwind. I mean, every year I'm just so excited about who we've had an opportunity to talk to. And we hadn't had a pre-K teacher on before, a pre-kindergarten teacher.
Right.
And so in episode 117, we had Natalie Legg came, if you recall, to talk about early childhood education and the importance of incorporating play. And so, Pete, you're kind of talking about that a little bit, you know what I mean, with them just doing the jingle or some of the other things you're talking about. So I thought maybe for a minute I'd ask you, if someone is realizing, and I think you could do this at any age, but that they want to incorporate more play as part of their learning environment. My thought is classroom management has got to be a little bit of a tight thing, right? So that it doesn't get too out of hand, but also, for the teacher who likes things to be kind of neat and quiet and are afraid if they're kind of getting their their wiggles and jiggles out. What would be your advice to someone about that? Like, how do you handle that?
You got to let go of a few things. It's going to get messy. It's going to get noisy sometimes. From the get-go, I set up expectations and they know not to push those, but at the same time, they know, like, for instance, this is my first year I've had pre-K. So now I have pre-K through fifth grade this year. And I see them once a week and I love them. Run around, go feel what that scarf feels like. Go play on that instrument, go bang on that thing. Explore. we're telling kids to be curious, and then we want them to sit on a rug and sit on their hands and keep their mouths closed. That's not going to fly. That doesn't work. And that's when they're going to act up. So why fight it? Why swim upstream on that?
Yeah.
And today was our kindergarten tour for next year, the kindergartners, and they come in and, they walk through the music room, and some kids are like, oh my gosh, this is like Toys R Us. They go right to the drum set. They go right to the boomwhackers. And the tour guide was like, no, no, no. I'm like, it's okay. Let them. It's relax, because
That's how they
it's not my
discover.
room. It's their room. It's going to be their room for the next 6 years. And this is a first impression. I don't want them thinking that they can't breathe in here, that they're going to be stifled. So
Yeah.
just if you're, and I'm uptight about stuff. I admit it. I am uptight about stuff.
Sure.
But with that, you just got to let it go, breathe, and it's okay. It's okay. Crap's going to get broken. Things are going to get messy. It's a classroom. It's not a freaking museum,
Yep.
Sorry.
That's awesome.
That's really interesting. Yeah. I
mean,
I love the comment you made about curiosity, Pete. I think that is an essential ingredient we need to foster and develop in every way, every year possible, because we were just noticing this, and when we've shared this before, curiosity is on the ropes in a way that I haven't seen it in a while, meaning like explore these things, do these things. And that's, when you asked that question, Aaron, like play was lacking in a majority of my classes, I think, except for my one class, which was a development studio. And the one thing that we did, we had an electronics kit where they were programming it. This group was a small group, but they broke components more than I've ever seen get broken before. These are electronic components. They're very small. They're not for a tiny person's hands, but they're not. They need to be handled carefully. But these students were breaking things left and right. And my first reaction though was like, oh, gotta replace that, and then. But it was good. They were learning how not to mishandle them. And that was something else. But what was really interesting was that play attitude. This is a development studio. That's all I wanted them to do was explore it. There were no quizzes, no exams. We would have graded events, but we were learning and doing all kinds of things. And at the end of the course, I asked them what they thought of it. And they said, this is a course that I never expected to be taking in college. And I was like, that's cool. Like, oh, you should be playing with this stuff. And I want to know. So their assignment at the end of the semester, well, not the only assignment, but their one thing I asked them to do at the end of the term last week was to let me know what you were going to explore this summer. And like, what were you going to try to learn? What were you going to try to work with and learn and develop and break and all that? And they did. And I said, that's the spirit you want to have, play with things, break things, and learn from it. So yeah, it's important. It's very important.
I love that you both are expressing the two different age groups, right? Everything from the very beginning to, whatever.
And Aaron, I got one more.
Because,
I'm gonna go ahead,
Pete.
No, please.
No, I was just gonna say because there is a settled mindset that they're only 18 years old, some of them, and already they're like in these boxes, and it's like no, we don't got a long life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pete. What were you gonna say?
When let's say there's professional development, let's say there's a conference, let's say there's a meeting, it's a whole bunch of administrators, decision makers, policy makers, and you throw into that situation an element of play. Doesn't that go better for even those people, that age, those people in those positions? They're going to be more enjoyable. It's going to get more done. The energy goes up, people are talking, it's instead of this, at these meetings already, right? Have you ever been in where somebody interjects something fun that's going to spark a little bit of play on this level, right? I mean, those are the best professional development sessions I've had when somebody.
I agree. It's so rare, unfortunately. It's so rare.
Exactly.
And you're right. And the minute you do, the minute you start laughing with someone or making any kind of connection or just make some kind of, funny eye, connection when you look at each other because something silly happens or crazy happens, immediately you start to kind of put down your shields a little bit and be more open to, brainstorming, giving feedback or giving your thoughts on things. And I promise this is not meant to be a plug, but that's literally what my professional development is. It's literally that we go and play in one of the best maker spaces in one of the days. Oh, thanks, Fred.
There you go, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is 3 days. I mean, you're working when everyone leaves. They're like, "Oh my god, I'm so tired," but it's a good tired because we're using our brains. We're playing. We're exploring. I mean, really doing. It's personalized. You know, development really more than professional development. People are coming and what is it that you wish that you had time to work on or always wanted to play with or come up with a solution for, and by the time you leave you've made new friends, but you've also hopefully got some kind of storyboard or something to either start doing when you go back to work, or some people are like, well, I'm gonna have to propose this to my supervisor, and it's like, okay, great, so they'll have a storyboard to go back to. And I haven't heard one person say, yeah, they won't let me do it. Like every single person has gone back and they're so excited that they're willing, to take an educated risk to get people more engaged. So that's awesome. One of the things too, and we just had this conversation last week that I think incorporated this idea of play, was the two professors from tech that had created the AI platform for music and coding. Like, first of all, when I read that article about them, and this was a while ago, I thought of the two of you. Like, it literally was like your two things brought together.
If Fred and I had a baby.
Yeah. It would be called Ear Sketch.
Brian and Jason were, they were great guests to have to kind of bring the season to a close. And I think my big takeaway, Pete, I love you and I have talked about this before. We all have the creative element, right? There's creativity in coding. There's obviously creativity in music. The two bring together. It's like the, two great tastes that taste great as one. It's the chocolate and peanut butter together and all that. Yeah. But the other thing too that was really profound for me as we shut down that night and we went off in our own directions was the fact that they created that. So there are other professors out there collaborating, doing research in a very similar way, but they didn't create their own tools, and that's the essence of entrepreneurism right there. Like that element, I thought was probably something that they don't give it a lot of thought. They were probably really focused on what they wanted to focus on the research, and they needed a tool to help them do that. But I think at the end of it all, whoever is participating in that usage of that tool or their classes is getting us also a little bit of a taste of being what it means to be an entrepreneur. And I'm sure that that's coming out of them in some way. And I thought that was another facet to all that stuff that kind of goes under the radar screen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have a question with the whole, because part of it was that we were talking about AI with them. Are you using it with, I know, Fred, you're using it with your class, but are you using it as your role in education?
How so?
Well, like, for example, I've used it to create like STEM responses, so that if I know that I have, these are the most common things people email me about with a concern or need some support on, I have it help generate those for me so that it's just kind of a time saver. And I know exactly, this is what they're asking for. Here's exactly where they can get it. And it's all set and put together.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be working on a blog post on this, so it'll go a little bit more detail. But how I've been using it in a nutshell, I'm primarily using ChatGPT, and I'm using the Pro version. And what it allows me to do is create projects inside of ChatGPT. So there's project folders.
Yep.
I'm allowed to give it a voice. So I tell it exactly how I want this folder to behave, if you want. And then I upload into that folder old lab assignments, diagrams, images, and then I talk to it. So Google also has something very similar to that kind of feature, but I've used that now to generate, questions and quizzes, and I've had to edit them. I want to caveat that. So everybody that's listening to this and AI and this, it is still not perfect. It is so far from perfect. It's not even funny. And I kind of made a comment about that in a video I posted today. So just as an example, I was having it create a framework for a quiz. I was talking to it about, I want to create a multiple choice assessment, and I wanted to be telling a story. I didn't know what that was called. I've learned that that's called a narrative assessment. So a narrative assessment was basically, it's as they're working on this idea, it's growing and so on.
Mhm.
And we're going back and forth on it. All right. Long story short, I then have it go to generate it. I'm lazy. I want to get it into my LMS. So what do? It generates the what's called a QTI file for Canvas. Go to upload it into Canvas. Didn't work. Okay.
Oh
Please take a
no.
look at this. Change it. I must have went back and forth with ChatGPT 5 or 6 times about properly formatting it. It had never worked.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a step back. Then I go to an intermediary tool to move it into a QTI package to get it into Canvas. I know I'm speaking a lot of mumbo jumbo to folks listening, but my point was it failed more than it succeeded on that afternoon. I must have did 20 to 25 iterations of it.
Yeah.
But it's to that point, it's not there. But once I got it to the point, I was there, I got it out there, I was able to take it, modify it, and go forward. And yeah, it was really, really helpful to kind of look at things from a different perspective. And that's what I felt like I was doing. I was seeing it from a fresher set of eyes, because I've seen this stuff. I've looked at this stuff a lot all year and for the past few years, and I've evolved it. So that's how I use it. And it was really, really interesting. And then as I'm getting it back, I'm now using the feedback to make me better informed as to what questions work to get to the goals and objectives of the class.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
great.
like having an expert. I mean, I know that we do that in our jobs in a way already,
Yeah.
but it just made it so much easier, and I got better feedback and better insight to my students.
Good. That's great. My one thing I would just for our friends out there, because I am in that. I'm actually excited. I'm getting ready to go to a Microsoft thing here for the day, Fred, for educators about AI.
Cool.
When it comes to policy, just check with your school, your university, whatever, about what it
Right.
is, because especially if you don't want to put any of your students' names, any personal information out there. Careful with the data, because like ChatGPT, for instance, some people don't realize that even it's not really it's not private anymore, right? Like if someone else is searching for something on ChatGPT and asking to create it, it might pull some of your students' names and data in it. So just be mindful, watch what you're using. There are components that you can use of other AI, platforms that will do it privately and it won't be shared in a public vault, I guess. So just be careful.
No, that's a great reminder for everybody. It's still a generative tool, so it's like, fragmental. It's projecting and statistically determining, but you're right. It's certain things you don't want to be putting anybody's PII out there. That's for sure.
No,
But how have you used it though, Pete? Have you touched on it or used it at all? And
a little bit with some lesson planning, but I very, very strict with what I can do in the class. It has to be vetted curriculum, vetted materials. It's getting more and more. So I'd be careful with that. I've used it more for the nonprofit. I've used it more for helping me with stuff. I think out of the three of us, I'm the least enthused about it, but I still respect it as a tool.
Yeah.
I love technology. I just wish I trusted more in responsibility and accountability of humans. I've lost a little bit of faith with humanity the last couple of months, last couple of years, and I just feel like people turn these wonderful things into not so wonderful things, and I just hope this wonderful tool on the horizon can stay that way, still be a wonderful thing and not be used negatively. But I there's a double-edged sword to everything. But use it for my own personal organization, productivity, helping out with the nonprofit and things like that, tasks, wording, and then some lesson planning when I can. But again, in my situation in the classroom, it's pretty strict with what I do with the kids. So it has to come from a vetted source that is managed that way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So you kind of talked about, this year. What are some of the challenges you all face? Like, how did you feel about this school year as it's coming to an end? and what were some things maybe from the podcast we'll spin into then a positive that kind of maybe helped you to navigate it, or other things in your life that kind of help you get you through the school year?
It's been a challenging year for us in higher ed. I think, not getting into politics or anything like that, we're at the tip of a seismic change that's coming at the United States. I mean, you don't need politics to understand that we have fewer students of college going age now in the Northeast, and it's spreading into the Midwest. And colleges and universities are going to be struggling. Not disregard all the other political stuff going on with funding and everything. Enrollments are declining, and it makes you wonder about your livelihood. Like, you and I have talked offline, Aaron. I'm not worried about it. I think one of the things is being in this podcast makes me realize that teaching is a very valuable skill. It's a life skill. But I'm also realizing too that I had a realization in a conversation. It's who I am, and that's a good thing. Like, I'm an educator, and I'm going to continue to educate people. I'm going to be in the space where I like to be, seeing people get developed. And that's what I think I took away from the podcast in the midst of all of our chaos. If anybody's not sure what I'm talking about, just go ahead and Google Penn State University, and you'll come across the campuses are facing some changes, but we're not the only ones. It's not a Penn State issue. It's a higher education issue. So I think everyone's going to be seeing some significant shifts. And maybe we need it. Maybe we need a change. Like a lot of the stuff we talk about in here is really, really great. And we see it thrive in very supportive school systems. We know that there are some school systems that aren't as supportive, and they don't get to see these kind of innovations. And I think the same thing is true with higher education. Higher education has, some people are doing it very well, and other people are just towing the line. And that's what's giving everybody the bad rap too. But it's interesting. We're certainly living in interesting times, though.
Yes, we are. Yes.
How about you?
Yeah, I feel like this has been a year of just exhaustion, and I can't quite figure out why. Even this week, I don't know. I just feel like there were a lot of weeks where we were going to meet, and I had the moment of, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do a conversation and be in the moment and do all that. But it never fails that when I do come on here, and we've talked about this before, it really does lift me up. Like I know the three of us want this to be a gift outward to people, but in the end, it always ends up feeling like it's a gift, a gift for me too. So, yeah, I don't know. Tired. I'm looking forward to, so my role, I don't get the summers off, but it may slow down here and there. And I'm just looking forward to just I try to just be mindful of the season and try to get some downtime. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, make sure you do that for yourself. That's important. Yeah. You know that. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
And then you got the conference. I mean, the conference, the conference reminds me of the thing. Like, once that goes into motion, you're not going to be able to do anything to control it otherwise. So just enjoy it.
Yeah. Once I get there, I'm just like, okay. And I even play, I play, like I become a participant. I mean, I'm guiding things behind the curtain, but I'm in there too, just playing and having fun, and learning from everyone as well. So yeah, thanks.
That's neat.
Thanks. Can't remember, Pete, did you answer? I feel like, did you?
I think it would go back to the inspiration, like I said before, just like things that were thrown my way this year that maybe I would have crashed and burned on 10 years ago, 12 years ago, just bounced off of me right now. And I'm like, I could handle that. Yeah. So I can do this behavior group. I can do this pre-K. I can add this other concert. We can bring, I do think we're getting older. Yeah. So I feel things a little bit more but I think I've been more mindful about saying no when I can. Taking time for myself, saying, okay, this is my time for my little hobby or family time. I've been more cognizant of that. And I think it is because of us. I have a little Aaron and Fred voice in my head saying, Pete, you can't pull back a little, stop, And then I think of the people that give advice on our podcast, our hosts, these experts. I think it's the same thing. They give this advice and like, well, I need to listen to it. We just can't put it out there. And so, like you said, it's also beneficial to us. So I would just put it under inspiration again, just and fortification. Just we're plowing through it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally. But it's good for us too. I think it's good for us.
Exactly.
So summer's coming up, summer break, and
Woohoo.
I'm sitting here thinking, Fred, you kind of asked something before we went live. I always think about summer films.
Yep.
So not technically summer yet, but getting there. Did you see Thunderbolts?
Yep.
Yes.
And do you give it a thumbs up, thumbs down, sideways?
I give it a double thumbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really well made movie. Great acting, great writing.
I just walked out of there saying Marvel is back.
Hmm.
It had that kind of vibe.
It had the same feels.
Yeah.
But different. What I loved about it, and I don't think this is a spoiler because the trailers kind of make it that, but
Right.
these are not your typical superheroes. These are not perfect people. You're seeing character development. You're seeing flaws. You know what I mean? You're just seeing real human life situations that we deal with in it. And it just was, oh man.
I think it's in our nature as teachers to root for the underdog and the misfits and the ones that's not quite found their tribe yet and their path yet. So that I think that spoke to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. So
It
are there
was-
any other films you guys are looking forward to that are coming out this summer, if you know what's coming out?
Let's see.
I know Mission Impossible. I like those movies. I like spy movies in general. Like James Bond is like the ultimate, but I think the last couple ones have been pretty amazing.
I'm just starting that journey actually. I saw the original one.
Wow.
And then I don't think I've ever really sat. I mean, I like Tom Cruise and I love spy movies. I'm a big James Bond fan.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, Mission Impossible seemed to always kind of get away from me. So, little plug for Amazon people, like you, Amazon Prime people. They're I think all of them now are available except for one. They were charging the last month, so now they're available. So I've started to watch them, and once I get past we're in finals week this week. We got graduation.
Yeah.
Once I get past that, I have my lineup. I love what you said though, Aaron, because I guess until I'm no longer on this earth, I will always associate May and June with the blockbuster movies for the summers. Like that's the stuff we grew up with.
Yes.
I mean, it's a sense of renewal. It's a reset, and it's the beginning of a great summer season. So I think the one I'm looking forward to probably this summer is going to be Fantastic Four in July. Right. And then also I know we've all been down the road with Jurassic Park, but Jurassic Park's new movie that's coming out with Scarlett Johansson.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Director of Rogue One.
Yeah. Man, are you guys watching the season 2 of Andor? Speaking of,
oh yeah,
I've heard nothing but amazing things, but I haven't watched it.
Holy cow! And let me just
those last episodes I heard.
Let me just add to it. They've been doing shorts for a couple years now. It's cartoon form, and right now it's Tales of the Underworld. Oh,
yes, they're great.
It's so good.
I like those.
They're really hitting their stride, right? Finally,
yep.
It feels good to be a Star Wars fan again, and not because we were hitting that fatigue factor. I think where it was just like, but there's also something else that surfaced. Did you catch wind of the Marvel comic book stuff? They're doing the sequel to Return of the Jedi.
No.
Now, what I don't know is if it's going to be written in the vein of Heir to the Empire. I didn't get into it far enough yet.
Ooh.
So for those of you who are Star Wars fans, like Heir to the Empire was the Timothy Zahn series that kind of came out right after the original trilogy. And a lot of people thought that was where we would see a lot of the new Star Wars stuff being pulled from, but it really didn't happen. However, it's starting to surface in Ahsoka with Thrawn and then the Andor. I gotta tell you, like I can't wait to watch Rogue One now. Like I haven't rewatched it yet since watching Andor. I love the character. I love Andor. Cassian Andor is like really, really an interesting fellow.
Mm-hmm.
But is it intense or what with how the Empire operates.
Oh my
They,
God.
oof.
So intense. So intense.
I'm
It's
like,
so good.
oh yeah. I mean,
And shout out to our bud who's been on here before. I don't think
Mhm.
did we call him on this year? I don't think we
I
did.
don't think
He's
this
always
year.
came for. It's been a busy year, but Dan Zaire,
Right.
Dan Z does Coffee with Kenobi, and so whenever those series come out, I always look for his stuff because
Yeah.
he'll do like kind of a. He says without spoilers, but he kind of does a good deep analysis of it. And then I'll add another thing, just since we're nerding out on some stuff. Jim Henson's group is they've got apparently the first book is out. I'm going to go see if I can find it at our local comic book store, but bunch of Jim Henson Dark Crystal
Oh,
comic
cool.
series is coming out, which I'm super excited about. So the first one's out, and I think the second one's about to come out, and that looks really cool. Speaking of, as we're winding down, I love books. So do you guys have any do you read in the summer? No judgment. Are you summer readers?
I hear
Pete?
something, Fred. You there?
What is
I'm
that?
sorry.
You okay?
I don't know what that
Fred?
was.
All right,
We have
well, you didn't
gremlins.
hear it by yourself, so we're healthy. We're good. We're good. Books.
Did you hear echoing?
Say what?
Did you hear echoing?
Yeah.
It's gremlins.
It's gremlins.
There
We
we go.
got to find out something is on in the background.
I was
Might
writing
have
my
been
movie
shared.
list. I wasn't at the books yet. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just throwing all
Okay.
kinds of things out at you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to the movies real fast. So I'm looking forward to Lilo and Stitch. I'm looking forward to How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah,
Yes.
Fantastic Four. I'm curious what's gonna happen with the next Superman.
Yes, that looks interesting. What about Karate Kid? How do you
I'd
feel
like
about that?
Oh, I saw that.
the
I didn't
Karate
know that
Kid.
was
I
going to be
put
there.
that on my list too. But these are
So
all
are you
things
guys
we're
Cobra-
familiar with. I like
Were you
the
guys
idea
Cobra
of
Kai
watching
people or no?
something.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Also filmed here in Atlanta.
Pete, it'd be fun if we went to Stitch together. Bring the families
That
together.
would be fun. That would be fun. But and then one that I'm really curious about. So all these are things we're familiar with. It's going to be like a nice warm hug. It's characters and stories we know and love. And I think we're challenged so much during the year. It's nice to go to that familiarity.
Yes.
That's a nice part of theater. But at the same time, it's also nice to go to theater and be challenged. So I'm curious about Sinners, which is Ryan Coogler's one right now about vampires. It's a lot more than just vampires. I definitely want to see that one. So that's on my list. And then Leslie Nielsen's coming back as the Naked Gun.
No way.
Liam Neeson is coming back as the Naked Gun, which was Leslie Nielsen, years and years ago. So I think Liam Neeson could be very, very funny. So I think that might be, we're so uptight and so serious, that might be fun just to see some cornball humor and goof off a little bit. I wonder how far they're going to go with stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's a different world right now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And then as far as
I didn't know that was going to be a thing. That's a good one. I didn't know that.
So when you wrote that question, and it's with Pamela Anderson is in the Priscilla Presley role.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's the one we need to go to.
Yeah, it might be fun. It's so bizarre and different. I'm like, that's awesome. Anyway, so when I looked at our plan for tonight and I said, what books do you hope to read this summer? Any recommendations? This is what I wrote. I can't remember the last time I was able to read something just for fun, for enjoyment.
Yeah.
It's always work related, growth related, learning. So I have a promise to myself that I'm going to sit and read something this summer just to read a story. I'm not even going to let myself look at nonfiction. It's got to be fiction. So, and I'll report to you when we get back. So
great. And I might recommend one to you that I think you would like.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've heard of that one. That's beautiful.
A Song for Nagasaki. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mine's
My wife
called
is getting ready to go back.
Oh yes, safe travels.
Yeah, she's getting ready to go back to Japan again. So, all right, enough of me. How about you guys with books?
Well, Water Moon is a fiction book that I just recently read. It's considered YA, but I mean, it's
That's right.
it's pretty adult, but it's good. It has a very big Japanese kind of Asian kind of mythical
Hmm.
kind of thing in it, but it's really about life and choices and a love story. It just blew my mind out of the water. It's called Water Moon. The other thing is I read James. So for my ELA teacher fans out there, American Lit, that's by Percival Everett. He just won a Pulitzer for that. So if you ever read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn,
Yep.
he wrote this book pretty similar to the way Mark Twain wrote his, but it's James remember he was the slave in it's his side of it, like his perspective.
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, and he just won a Pulitzer for that one.
I've heard of that one.
I thought you were going to say for a second there was a giant peach involved for a second.
Oh, God, that's a classic. That's a classic. And then the last one, I just got this book and I want to make sure I mention it. I haven't read it yet, Fred, but I thought of you. This is my nonfiction that I'm going to recommend. It's a book called Challenger. So it's all about the Challenger. And I've already started like kind of reading it, and it's not dry. You know, sometimes you read a nonfiction book about an event, it's just like, it's just facts and just kind of, this is written in very much like a narrative. So you can get kind of wrapped into the story and really kind of feel what was going on in the lives of the people. So
that's an interesting one. I didn't hear about that one. I'll have to check that one. That's it. Yeah. Wow. I know that they had that special on Netflix. Is it Netflix that was the challenge?
Yeah, it was like a documentary, wasn't it?
That was really good. That was very good. That had a very like personal feel to it. And also really in depth. It was done well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great reading list. Yeah, you're all set. So let me ask the question then. So you got books. Are you going to be taking them anywhere to go and relax? You going away? Anybody doing vacations?
Orlando, because when I'm down there for the PD, we take a little time before and a little bit after. And then I'm actually going to Mexico for a long weekend. Yeah, my cousin's getting married, and so I'm going, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be with my mom, my sister, and one of my nieces. So it's going to be, we're making it like a little girls trip, which we've never done before. So
nice.
Yeah.
How about you, Fred?
Well, we're finally getting back to Disney. So we're doing a family trip. This is our first time with the family all together.
Oh boy. Grandbaby?
No, and the grandbaby. Yeah. He'll have no clue. But we'll love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going this is the first time all together since 2016 we've been to Disney.
Wow.
So it's a long time coming. I mean, I've been down there, we've been down there, we've attending events together and so on, but we haven't all been there together. And we're all flying in from different places. We'll be staying there and then doing our thing, and then enjoying a little bit of the Florida area too, a couple days. Good. And then that'll be at the beginning of summer, and then we come back and we'll be doing our staycation back here in the, I'm up in the Pennsylvania mountains, so we'll be here. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They haven't seen so much of the stuff, like definitely not Tron. They haven't done Guardians. They haven't seen any of the revisions to Epcot. They haven't seen a Ratatouille. They haven't seen well, I don't know what's going to be Hollywood Studios is going to be like. So it'll be, I don't know if it's going to be all torn up or walled off or what, but yeah, there's a lot that they haven't seen. And
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad.
The Runaway Railroad, the
Skyliner. I mean, gosh.
Skyliners. Yep. Skyliners.
Yeah.
They haven't done any of that stuff. So that's
going to be fun.
Yeah. And we're all adults. So it's, we don't have to worry except for the baby.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to that. That's our big trip. So
that's awesome. How about you, Pete?
Good. So like I shared, my wife has to go back to Japan to take care of one of our relatives. So my priorities make sure we can afford that whenever it's needed. So this year it's going to be just her. My son's going to stay with me. We have a summer camp, 2-week summer camp coming up in June. We're doing Lion King, and we sold out. We sold 3 emails. We sent out 3 emails to different groups that have done shows with us in the past. And in one day, we completely filled the camp. And we have not one advertisement. We didn't have to do any
Wow.
advertising. We did 3 emails to different families. The Nemo family, the Nicholson, the Frozen family, and then the Newsies family from last summer, all them. And we saw that, and we have kids from 14 different schools in our camp. So,
Wow.
holy cow. And we're in a brand new middle school. So it's going to take some work. Lion King's a monster of a show. So that's going to be June. Son is going next week to Orlando to Universal for his 8th grade trip. So he's covered. He'll be happy. He'll come home. I think we'll do some day trips and some father and son stuff. You know, he's going to be going to high school next year.
Oh my
I
God.
think what we
can't
decided
believe
we're going to, yeah. So I think we decided we're going to save up and plan for something Thanksgiving November for us to do. So we're going to be saving up for that now. But the main thing is to make sure my wife can go visit family in Japan. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and, just recharge and smile and enjoy some sunshine.
High school. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a high schooler.
That is
Amazing.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
Wait,
why I
how
was so
many
bit
years
like
have you-
every night or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
What'd you say, Fred?
so we met 10 years ago
Yeah,
or 9 years ago?
sure.
10 years ago. 10 years ago.
I'd say 10. Let's just round it up to 10. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Good times. So
Time
yeah, it's
flies.
gonna be a good summer. And I love you both. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, I
And,
hope you have a wonderful summer. For our friends out there, you as well, take time to recharge. Hopefully, you got some good books and films and things to do. And if you didn't get a chance to listen to all the episodes, I think, go
Yep.
back, listen to some, especially as you get ready, because it'll be time to start the new year. I hate to bring that up already, but
Yep.
Pete, where can people continue the conversation or connect with us?
Right. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you're listening to us, please leave us a review, subscribe, like. Let's keep things going over the summer. Let's get a few more listeners, and don't work the whole summer. Do something for yourself. The school year will come, and it's going to come no matter what. So you might as well recharge a little bit.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great summer.
Yes. Have a great
Bye-bye.
one. See you in the fall, everybody.
Bye.
Adios.